Hi, this is my mom, Wanda Walton, and I'm going to ask her to tell you a memory from her childhood. Mom, tell us about the time that you and your brother got into an interesting interaction with interesting weapons.
Once upon a time, there were two little children, Wanda and Denny, who were brother and sister. Denny was about 2 years older than Wanda, and they had this game that had been given to them by one of their uncles, and it was croquet, but it was miniature croquet, and the mallets were only about 10 inches long, and the barrel of them was about an inch or inch and a half in depth, and they were about 2.5 inches long. And as we were playing, my brother said I cheated, and I said I did not, and he said you did, and I said I did not, and he said you did. And about that time he bopped me on the head with his croquet mallet. So I bopped him back, and he bopped me again. Now when I say bop, I mean bop, because it brought blood. And so I bopped it back, and then we started crying and running for the kitchen. And about that time our mother came in from outdoors, and she saw 2 trails of blood from the living room to the kitchen, and she sat down and cried that her children would do such a thing to one another. So about that time, our neighbor, Joanna Rotrammel, came over to use our phone. We had the only phone on the block, and she was calling a cab to go to work. Well, she was a nurse, and she saw those trails of blood, and she saw what a shape our mother was in. And so she went in, and she cut our hair around the places we had hit one another, which would later need stitches. And she calmed my mother down, and we finally were able to quit crying. And our mother was never quite the same. She didn't trust us much anymore.
About how old do you think you were?
I would say that I was probably 7 or 8, and my brother was 22 months older.
So 9 or 10.
Uh-huh.
So did you ever play croquet again with him?
Not miniature. Croquet.
Not miniature.
Yeah.
Well, Mom.
We had the scars for years to prove it.
And then if you were about 7, that would make it about 1938 that this took place.
Mm-hmm.
So in the middle of the Great Depression.
As I said, we were the only people on the block with a telephone, and that was because my father had a business uptown. He had a radio shop. He fixed people's radios. So he had to be able to call and find out if they needed him to come pick up a radio to fix.
Was that a party line phone?
Oh, absolutely. Our number was 169R because somebody else's was 169M.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Do you have any recollection of how many people were on that line?
I think there were 3 families.
3 families on that line?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
R, M, and let's see, 169R, 169M.
But that was interesting. Was there ever a time that your parents had to ask someone to get off the phone so they could use it?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that? I remember we had a party line when I was real little here, and that was an interesting experience.
Yes, and we did sometimes have to ask dear Mrs. Kirby. who seemed to be the most talkative.
She did like to use the phone.
But she was a sweet lady.
Well, Mom, thank you so much for sharing this memory with me. And just everybody be careful of croquet mallets.